mindset insight. I'm starting with a quote from Rosamund and Benjamin Zander from The Art of Possibility, Harvard Business School Press in the year 2000. What they say is, our premise is that many of the circumstances that seem to block us in our daily lives may only appear to do so based on a framework of assumptions that we carry with us. So we seem to be blocked by a framework of assumptions that we carry with us. What I'm going to cover in this video is, number one, what are beliefs? Number two, where do they come from? Number three, how do I identify them? 4, can we change them? 5, somewhat excitingly called other points. And 6, the central skill of optimism. Towards the end of the video, I'm going to give you the central skill of optimism. So, what are beliefs? I'm taking it that beliefs are pretty much assumptions or hypotheses. In my book, these are all different kinds of descriptions of what I generally refer to as beliefs. My favourite definition is that they are emotionally held thoughts. I think that's really important, that they are emotionally held, because they're not just thoughts. That doesn't describe them enough. That makes them sound too cold. They're emotionally held thoughts about ourselves, about others, and about situations. They're not based on facts, but on perceptions we had at the time they were formed. Based on perceptions that we had at the time they were formed, which is likely to have been in childhood, but not always. We may feel hooked by them and surprise ourselves by the strength of our reactions. So that's one of the things that I would look out for with beliefs, is if I or somebody that I'm working with seems to have a surprisingly strong reaction to something in real time, real life. Oh, why did they react like that? That's quite likely to be because they've tripped over one of their beliefs. Beliefs are also referred to in NLP as presuppositions, a kind of working hypothesis that we bring to what we do. They're also often nominalizations. There's a video about nominalizations made by me, so please feel free to look that up if you want to understand what that means. It's basically verbs made into nouns. And Christina Hall, who frequently talks about language in NLP, says that if we actively change the word belief to believing, that is, we give it some movement, we automatically introduce some movement into something which might for us be stuck. Beliefs are judgments, evaluations that we make about ourselves and others, which determine our motivation, our feelings, and our actions. And they're slippery. They're not easy just to find and to work on, because when we think we've found one in ourselves or in others, it very easily slips away. Something I've studied a little bit is Tibetan pulsing yoga. And this belief assumption thing is referred to in that as jewels. That's jewels like Jewels, jewels like that. And the theory is that these can be seen through marks in our eyes. So our beliefs, in a way, are creating a pattern in our eyes that is obscuring our vision. And I think that's good, because there's something about beliefs that does obscure our vision. And I hope throughout this video I will not be referring to limiting beliefs, because I don't really like that phrase. The thing is, our beliefs may obscure our vision. Now, that isn't like, hey, good belief, bad belief, positive belief, negative belief. Whatever it is, it's likely that we're not seeing things as they actually are, but seeing them through the filter of a belief. This is also something that Krishnamurti talked about a great deal, which is like really doing our best to train ourselves to see things as they are. And I think that people who have an aptitude or a desire for this kind of work are those people who really have a desire to see things as they are in life, not as they appear to be because of the framework of assumptions that we carry around with us. Our beliefs often feel very logical to us because, of course, we may have found that we've spent a lot of time constructing them. Or maybe we don't think we have consciously constructed them. So, second thing I want to talk about is, where do they come from? Lots of different places. Our parents, our teachers, our religion, our culture, and the media. Then, of course, our own reference experiences. And funnily enough, not just our own, but other people's reference experiences. So, for example, if we hear unpleasant things about a particular part of the city that we live in, and we hear maybe 3 unpleasant things from other people or from our friends, maybe we start to think that that's not a very good area of the city to go to. We have a belief about that. It's not a fact. So these are the sorts of ways that we build up beliefs, either in childhood or in adulthood. Or they may arise from an experience, or what I would call an illusion, of separateness from other people. Now, how do I, or you, identify beliefs? Well, a way of identifying beliefs which is not a good idea, in my opinion, is to say, well, I believe this and I believe that, because those things are going to be very much at the surface of how your life is. They're much more easily identified, in my experience, by kind of tripping over them, kind of overreacting to something. Oh, why did I do that? That's because you've tripped over a belief. But other things we can consider is completing the sentence, well, I just can't. I just can't, ... And really, whatever comes after that is a belief. How do you know it's true? What prevents you? What would happen if you could do that thing? Other sorts of phrases to look out for are something like, oh, I don't know what stops me, but, or I wish I could, or this sounds crazy, or logically, I know it isn't true, but ... Or I must, I can, I can't, I should. Can we change beliefs? I think more important than can we change beliefs is, can we adopt a kind of attitude so that we are, as much as possible, free from beliefs? So that we are, as much as possible, viewing the world as it truly is. Now, I'm being cautious with this because that's kind of an ambitious goal. We are probably going to keep tripping over our own beliefs for the rest of our lives. But as an aim, attempting to see the world as it truly is, I think, more important than focusing on changing a belief. The first step in considering or challenging a belief that's not working for us is to talk about it or write about it. If you talk about it, have somebody just listen in some detail to what your belief is. Because the first step of any healing process is the acknowledgement and the acceptance of what is true right now. And our beliefs are most likely to change or be transformed not by our will, but by hearing other ideas that might be better, or gathering new information which actually disproves our belief to ourselves. As we learn things and get more information, we automatically begin to question our own beliefs. Also, you've already changed beliefs in the past. I doubt that you currently believe what you believed when you were 5 years old. You had certain beliefs at 5 years old based on your very limited experience of the world. And to you, at the time, they made sense. Now, when you were 5, you probably didn't have to grapple with them too much or do belief change exercises in order to rid yourself of your old beliefs. They probably gradually changed. If you think about the way a belief in Santa Claus changes or something like that, these beliefs tend to sort of change because, oh, people talked about it in the playground, and then I noticed this, and then my parents said this, and then this happened, and in the end I thought, well, I'm not sure about that then. I mean, that is the process of belief change. There's nothing fancy about it. Few other points about beliefs. This is my section inspiringly entitled Other Points About Beliefs. This is really a little group of 2 or 3 things that I thought were important, but I couldn't seem to fit them in the other sections. One thing, which does actually relate a bit to the playground story, is it's really okay to try on a new belief. Just like you would with clothes. If you don't like it, don't use it. What if I walked about in the world thinking this? What would happen? I know, I'll try it for a week and report back. So I think taking something of a light-hearted, try-on approach to beliefs is a good idea. I think another important thing, and this is true of things like faith healing, is that how is it that some things work for us even when we completely disbelieve them? You know, believing in something is absolutely not necessary, and there are many, many stories of people who have experienced healing through methods that they themselves thought were absolute rubbish. They didn't have to believe in it, but they for some reason went along with it. And what is faith? I've been thinking about that too. I think faith really is just a belief for which we currently have no evidence. And so sometimes we have faith. Now, I suspect that you've been waiting in this video to hear about what is the central skill of optimism. So here it is. Martin Seligman, in his book Learned Optimism, notice the word learned, says that changing the destructive things that you say to yourself when you experience the setbacks that life deals all of us is the central skill of optimism. Changing the destructive things you say to yourself when you experience the setbacks that life deals with all of us is the central skill of optimism. Tomorrow I'm going to my Auntie Bridie's funeral, and to me that's just exactly what Auntie Bridie did. She was so full of optimism, and she was not somebody who had an easy life. You know, sometimes people, when we are optimistic, I'm quite optimistic, And sometimes what people say to me, well, it's all right for you. You've led a charmed life. You know, and no, it's not that we have to lead a charmed life. Changing the destructive things we say to ourselves about the experience that we have means that the setbacks that life deals all of us don't get in the way of our optimism. When you're working with your beliefs or other people's beliefs, please remember the zetetic rigor model. That is to recover information and generate experiential richness. Because if we are not generating experiential richness in ourselves and in others, let's not bother. If you like this video, please like it. If you would like to comment or ask a question, please do. And I'd be delighted if you subscribed.